Am I the asshole for kicking my sister and her triplets out of my house when they are in need? Repost, as apparently I forgot to reply to the bot. A few replies came in to my first post which were very kind, thank you. So my sister D, 25F, and her triplets, age 3, had to move into my 33F house this week as they needed repairs to theirs after a leaky pipe rendered it uninhabitable for a few weeks. Within less than 24 hours my main bedroom's hard surfaces have been covered in crayon. My TV has been covered in jam. My partner and I are staying in our small spare room, office to give them the larger bed, and generally my house is in ruins. I don't really care about any of that but provide it for background of the amount of disruption caused. There are 3 children potty training, with little success, and 3 adults currently in my small house, which combined with my medical condition means my bathroom is almost perpetually in demand. I have incontinence issues, which my sister knows about and how I deal with them. I specifically asked that while they stay that she made sure that I had access to the sole bathroom at set times, 4 20-minute blocks a day, so I can do what I need to do on a minimal schedule, which is not really ideal for me but the bare basics I can cope with short term, and to make sure that bath time etc. doesn't overlap those times in order to help me as much as possible. If I'm off schedule the system doesn't work. Today while bathing her kids at a time I'd reserved, Dee decided to use my condition, which I don't reveal without need, even to family, as a negative example to her children about why they should try harder to use the toilet, and told me I'd have to wait until they were done. After the kids were in bed I asked her to make arrangements to find somewhere else to stay while her house is repaired, and that she has until Sunday afternoon to leave. I know she doesn't really have anywhere else to go, but I'm so angry with her. I feel I've bent over backwards to accommodate the 4 of them, and the one thing I asked she couldn't do for me. And to make matters worse, she was using my condition to scare the kids into action, which I find extremely uncomfortable as they now know their aunt wears nappies, and I'm now exposed to the horror of kids having no filter and not knowing what they might say in any situation from now on. The whole situation has made me feel horrible, and now I'm living on my bed wondering, am I the asshole for asking her to leave? Edit. A lot of people are commenting regarding the mess. I want to be clear that it will all pretty easy to wipe, scrub, mop and clean. And I really don't care about having to do all that. Even if I have to paint a wall that was drawn on a lot. It's just 3 kids being overexcited at staying at their aunt's, it's not a big deal. Edit 2. Yes, Dee did help with the cleaning and does try to keep them well behaved. Edit 3. I'm overwhelmed by the amount of replies, thank you all so much. The kids do have plastic potties but won't use them outside of a bathroom. If anyone was using the toilet, the disruption to my schedule would be a few minutes and I could probably be okay with that. The 20 minutes is more akin to a window than a block. The fact that my sister started to bathe them shortly before my reserved time is an issue. One I do blame her for, and the comment she made was very derogatory to me and has left me with horribly embarrassing nicknames with the kids. Anti-potty pants, or anti-poopy pants. Not the asshole. Your sister and her children have taken advantage of your hospitality and overstayed their welcome. If I was a guest in someone's home I wouldn't let my children destroy it, and I'd accommodate the owner's requests. She can go to a hotel. If she has homeowners or renters insurance she may get assistance with the cost of staying in the hotel. Sometimes things just don't work out. Not the asshole. You must have the patience of a saint if having 3 toddlers destroying your house doesn't set you off. Your sister did not follow critical house rules, out she goes. Not the asshole. You had a red line. She crossed it. Not the asshole, they can go and stay at a hotel. Also, where's the dad? Not the asshole. At all. You've gone out of your way to give family a place to stay, despite the disruption to your space. What your sister said and did was absolutely horrible. Not the asshole. The nerve. Here you are, graciously hosting her and her 3 toddlers during an emergency. Such a kind thing to do. And she's not only allowing the kids to just wreak havoc all over your place, but used your very private medical condition to create kind of potty training boogeyman? What? As if having a medical condition is something to be ashamed of, or worse, fair game to be mocked. Seriously. Does she really not get how god-awful, and inaccurate, that is? Or does she just not care? Either way, I don't blame you at all for asking her to leave. If she can't summon even a basic level of respect for you and your household, while you're doing her a massive favor no less, then she needs to leave. Not the asshole. Your sister disrespected your one condition and then embarrassed you in the process. Not the asshole. Your sister did the opposite of what she agreed on, leaving you in a predicament regarding the bathroom situation and told your personal business. It sounds to me that she doesn't respect you very much. You are definitely right to tell her to leave. Am I the asshole for announcing my pregnancy in front of my infertile friend? She recently found out. Last update. Things are okay and we're okay. I apologized, she understood. Thanks for all the help. Update. Sandra is texting me back. I'll call her soon too. I apologized and we're talking it out. Things are going better than I hoped. I know the final judgment hasn't been decided, but to be honest I am I should have waited and I know that now. I was in the wrong. Thanks for the help. I'm glad about how things turned out. You lot helped me write my apology too. ETA. Both Sandra and Sam agreed to be godparents way before I was pregnant. This was finalized before, not at the party. I, 25F, found out I was pregnant about 3 weeks ago. We decided to wait until we told. Our friends are like our family. We share everything with each other, right when they happen, so this was not typical behavior. 2 friends in the group are, Sandra 28F, and her husband, Sam. Sandra can't biologically have children. They found out about it a month ago, hence why waited to announce the pregnancy. Both of them were sad about it. Sam and I grew up together, so I know how much he wanted kids. Both my husband and I knew we had to tell our friends. I already had started to show symptoms and I don't want them to feel like I kept this from them. We are very close. All of us have been friends since forever. Most of us have not so great family too, so we're each other's chosen family. We wanted to share this happy moment with them. We called everyone over to our house. Everyone already knew something great happened because I always make cookies when I good news. I told them, yeah, something great has happened and that I was pregnant. I told them that I found out a month ago, as a response to someone who asked. Kelsey, another friend, told me she was hurt we didn't tell them immediately like she did when she was pregnant. Everyone was happy for us, or so I thought. I felt so much relief after telling them. Sam gave me a hug and I could see he was happy sad, and I told him that I actually wanted him to be the godfather of our baby. He just kept hugged me and I started crying, out of happiness. I didn't notice until Kelsey's husband pointed out, but Sandra was no longer sitting on the couch. I went to the kitchen to check on her and she was crying. I told her I'm sorry if this was difficult considering her news, and asked her if she needed anything at all. She didn't say anything, just went to the living room. I followed her and she just turned around and said, "You're a bitch." I was shocked and I guess said, "What?" and laughed. She said I was so insensitive and that I purposefully got pregnant. She was sobbing and I just didn't know what to do. My friends comforted her while Sam and my husband checked on me. Later it was just Sandra, Sam, my husband and me because my husband said whatever this was we had to talk about it since we were family. Sandra said it was a jerk move to announce my pregnancy just 3 weeks after she found out she couldn't have kids and that there was nothing to talk about. She left and Sam stayed back to apologize. This happened a week ago, no one has heard from Sandra. I can't sleep, I feel so guilty. Everyone insists I'm not the asshole, but they might be biased because who tells a pregnant woman they're an asshole, right? So I'm hoping you guys will tell me the truth because if I'm in the wrong I need to apologize. You are the asshole. The thoughtful thing to do would have been to speak with the 2 of them privately ahead of time, instead of surprising them in a group setting, especially since you were well aware they were so upset about their diagnosis. You are the asshole just to make sure. You knew that Sandra couldn't have kids? And you still decided to announce pregnancy in front of group of friends that included her. Yeah, insensitive as fuck. You should have told her in private beforehand. Tell her that you're announcing at X date and you'd understand if she didn't want to join. So let me get this straight, you got all of your friends together and told them, "Yay, I am pregnant," despite knowing that one of them just got the news that they would never have kids. It never crossed your mind to talk to Sandra first? How self-centered can you be? You are the asshole. Not the asshole, nah. Sandra is hurt and still grieving and you just happened to be an unfortunate target for it. A similar thing happened to some ear friends of mine. 2 of them got pregnant at the same time. One lost her baby minutes after he was born. The other is still happy and healthy. In her grief, the mother was angry with her friend for having a happy, healthy child when she couldn't. It's ugly, it's tragic. It's hard, and it's not fair, but you already took her into consideration and cared for her. If you want, you can say you're sorry you talked about it while she was still grieving and that you didn't talk to her in private where the news might have been less of a shock, but stand firm. You held off because of her already, you cared, and you didn't do this to hurt her. You are the asshole. You could have easily pre-warned her before the party so she could make the decision if she wanted to be there or not. Many women who deal with infertility purposely choose not to go to baby showers, gender reveals, etc. because it's too hard for them. So instead of giving her the choice to make a decision, you forced her to be there and relive her infertility diagnosis. Mild, you are the asshole. You should have told them privately versus publicly. It doesn't mean they can't be happy for you, but their news is so raw and they could have used a heads up. You are the asshole for not giving her heads up and letting her choose if she wanted to attend a freaking pregnancy party. What TF did you expect? Just her sitting there while everyone gushes over you being pregnant? Also the fact that you just dropped the bomb of you giving him a god, baby at the same time. I'm really side-eyeing her husband going to comfort you while his wife is out there having a breakdown. I probably would have told Sandra privately instead of announcing it at a party, but I mean, you can't not be pregnant because other people aren't. The cat will be out of the bag sooner or later. No assholes here because she is hurting and grieving, but you both could have been a little more thoughtful with each other. Would I be the asshole if I don't give +1s at my wedding? My 27F boyfriend, 29M, recently proposed. We're not in a rush, it took us 12 years just to get engaged. Haha. But weddings take a long time to plan, so we're starting to discuss things. We're going over different venue options, guest lists, and most importantly budgets. We're not rich and we also think spending tens of thousands of dollars on a wedding is ridiculous. For us personally, no judgment to others. We'd rather use that money to travel or get a bigger house. We want to try to stay under $10,000. We want a small intimate wedding, so we're thinking of the backyard at my family's house in the country or an even smaller Disney wedding. We go to Disney together often and it's actually possible to get married there for under our budget. It's also worth noting that I have very bad anxiety and am a very shy person. So between the small budget, the venue options, and my anxiety, I'm really thinking about not having +1s. I mentioned this to my best friend and my mother. My mother went off on me saying that it's rude, trashy, and classless to not give everyone a +1. To be clear, my mom is not going to give us a dime towards anything wedding related. I did tell her if she had any demands I'd be happy to hear her out, but she'd have to pay for them. She got pissed and said she isn't made of money. We made a few mock guest lists and giving everyone +1s almost doubles our guest list. That's a lot of people. A lot of money. A lot of strange eyes all on me. My best friend says people deserve +1s. I tried explaining the cost issue and she said that I'd figure it out, or cut costs elsewhere. She basically said that she will have a boyfriend by my wedding day and wants the option to bring the love of her life. She's never had a boyfriend. I love her, but I'm not holding my breath. Part of me wants to tell her she can have a +1 just to avoid drama. But then she said, if worse comes to worst and my soulmate is sick that day, I'll bring a friend or my mom. My wedding isn't a free-for-all social event. I love this girl to the moon and back, but yes, she's a handful. I don't think it's fair I give some people +1s and not others. The obvious exception to this would obviously be couples who are engaged, married, or together for a long time. I don't think it's unreasonable for me to want to be able to be comfortable on my wedding day, not go broke, etc. But I've never planned a wedding before, so I'm not really sure how all of this works. I know eloping, just the two of us, is an option. There are a few people who I really want there. But honestly, I'm considering eloping just to avoid the stress and drama that comes with a wedding. Edit. Copying and pasting this comment because I think it's relevant. We're both Italian, so our immediate family is huge. These are already the important people. We have 96 people with everyone invited being allowed a +1. It would go down to 55 if we took away +1s. This would still include +1s for people who are engaged, married, or in a relationship. I don't count them as +1s, because they themselves are all invited. This only eliminates the +1s where I'd have to write, and guest, because they don't have a +1. And #X200B. Not the asshole at all. +1s are no longer the norm. If you know someone married in a long-term relationship you want to invite, send the invite with both names. If your boyfriend doesn't have a name you don't already know, you have no obligation to provide space for one at your emotional and financial expense. Not the asshole. It's your day, so do what you're comfortable with. But you don't get to be upset with folks that don't want to come. Nah. It's your wedding. Do what you want, but if you're only allowing certain people a +1, then I can see why the rest of your guests would be upset. It honestly sounds like eloping would be the easiest choice, with only having a few close family and friends attending the ceremony. I was skeptical about your title, but you said you're giving +1s to anyone with long-term partners and that decided it. I'm single and didn't expect +1s to any of my friends' weddings because I know how crazy expensive it is. Not the asshole, and I wish you success and as little anxiety as possible in your planning. Not the asshole. I did the same thing for my wedding. I only wanted who I wanted there. It wasn't this fabulous, outlandish party. It was an intimate evening with the people who helped support my husband and I during engagement and our relationship. Not the asshole. It's your wedding and a small, intimate affair sounds lovely. You're also the one paying for it, and it's not reasonable for you to pay for people you don't know. If you just want close friends and family there, that's completely fine. It's your special day, it's a reasonable wish, and there's nothing wrong with doing it that way. Not the asshole. It's your wedding. Elope. Your best friend is welcome to witness the eloping. But you aren't paying for her event, you are paying for your event. Your mother can have her own celebration on her own dime. Your best friend can do the same. NTA, but some people will not want to come because of this. My social anxiety would be too much if I was on my own, for instance. Am I the asshole for trying to make my mother remove her boyfriend's children from her will? I am an only child. My mother has been in a relationship with her boyfriend for about 15 years. I personally have found her boyfriend to be pushy and controlling of her, for example, he picks out all her clothes. Additionally, he is essentially retired and only works occasional odd jobs, and I am fairly sure he has little money, so my mother has been paying for everything including the house and his food and their vacations, although he does help out around the house. My mom's boyfriend recently became seriously ill, not with COVID, and ended up in the ICU. This has led me to learn a series of things. One being that my mom's boyfriend is still technically married to his ex-wife. Another is that he has no will of his own. When he became ill, my mother reached out to me saying she was going to update her own will slightly to make me the executor. My mom's boyfriend had been the executor on her prior will. When she sent me a copy of the will, I learned that she is leaving 50% of the value of her home to her boyfriend. Even more bothersome to me is that if her boyfriend dies before her, she is leaving 50% of the house to his children. His children are from a prior marriage and were in their 20s when she met her boyfriend. She is friendly with his children and they spend some major holidays together, but as far as I know they are not super close. She is also splitting all her other assets about 50-50 between me and her boyfriend. I tried to explain to her that if her boyfriend dies shortly after her, he is about 10 years older than her, that all of that money will end up being split by his wife and sons. I recommended she make a trust and a living will to provide for her boyfriend until he passes, and then the remainder of the money can be left to me, as her only child. I also encouraged her not to leave the house to her boyfriend's sons. I cannot understand why she wants to leave all this money, potentially valuing hundreds of thousands of dollars, to his children. Since I live several hours away from my mother, we have not been as close as we used to be, but I do see her once a year and I call her every few weeks. I truly believe that my mother's boyfriend had unduly influenced her to leave all this money to his family. I have tried multiple times over the past week to talk to my mother about this, and all she says is, I will reduce the amount his children get a little, but she doesn't seem too interested in creating the trust I suggested and still seems to want to leave her boyfriend's children money. I have gotten so frustrated that I have been yelling at her and pressuring her to change the will to remove his sons from the will. Meanwhile, her boyfriend is still in the hospital. I feel badly giving her a hard time about the will while she is still worried about her boyfriend who is still ill. But I also think that if I wait until he is better to talk to her, that he will push her to completely ignore my suggestions. Am I the asshole for giving my mother a hard time about her will and trying to make her change it in a way that would benefit me? You are the asshole. You yourself admit you only see your mother once a year these days. You two are hardly close. Why on earth do you think you're more entitled to her money than her boyfriend, who she shares a life with and sees every day? If your mother spends major holidays with the boyfriend's children while you only see her once a year, it honestly sounds like she's closer to them than she is to you. Oh my god, I just read you've been calling so multiple times while her fucking partner of 15 years is severely ill and yelling at her, not comforting her while her life partner could die? Jesus Christ, you are an amazing asshole and I hope she cuts you out of the will completely. You are the asshole. You call her every few weeks and want to decide who she is close to in her life. You are the asshole. She has been with this guy a long time, and it's up to her to decide what she does with her assets. Stop yelling at her. It sounds like you care more about her money than the potentially abusive situation you say you think she's in. You are the asshole. It's her will, not yours. I find it interesting that you think her boyfriend is too controlling. But your own behavior here is okay in your head. You don't have to like it, but you don't get a say and may lose more than you gain by trying to control this situation here. And #X200B. You can however ask her not to make you executor of it, and tell her your reasons are very personal there. That's about the only part one think you should ask her to change to not be the asshole here. Obviously she cares a great deal about them. And while I can see why that may hurt you a bit as her actual kid, it's truly not your choice to make. You are the asshole. It's your mom's choice what to do with her will. This just comes off as greedy. You are the asshole. They've been together for 15 years and you're upset that he's getting 50% of it? You all sound like grown adults. But you sound petty and selfish. You are the asshole. Ultimately it's her decision and finances.